Hello to the chicas and the chicas. In today's video, we are going to reflect on how to utilize an open file, when is it relevant and when it is not relevant. And for that, I'm going to use the example right in front of us. Now, because of the nature of the position, the moves that I'm going to show you are not always the best, but I've thought that this game models some of the ideas the best, and so we are going to stick with this. So in this position, the rooks are both on the open files. In fact, black's last move was rook c8, a very, very logical move to challenge white's dominance on the file. And I would like to stress that rook c7 was a threat to penetrate on the open file. And at this point, we need to establish the most important concept that we want to know about obtaining an open file. Generally speaking, of course, rooks stand best on an open file. However, they can easily, become dead weight if we do not have a penetration point where we can utilize the fact that we have got a rook on the open file. Now, this was a threat black neutralized. Fair enough. And here, for the record, rook takes c8 is best. Now, this move surrenders the file, but allows white to penetrate on e7, wreaking havoc. Basically, know that the check is completely useless. Knight f1, and the white pieces are guarding each other nicely, whereas here there is a lot of issues to be had. But white, instead of this, came up with an idea that I absolutely love in this position, which was the very, very surprising rook to f1 move. Now, this is the opposite of what most people understand about open files, because this very clearly surrenders the open file to the black rook. However, now we need to go back to what I said about what is to be done with an open file. An open file by itself is not worth too much. We need to have a penetration point. Now, if we put ourselves in black's shoes, we realize that there is no penetration point available whatsoever. Not only is there no penetration point, but it's very difficult to see how black could fabricate a plan that would allow a longer or a mid to long term penetration plan meaningfully on the C file. So let's see how the game unfolds now, because you could argue that fair enough, this doesn't have an immediate penetration point on the C file, but surely later on down the track, this rook is going to prove to be far superior than that one, which is just shooting at the back of its own pawn. Right? Right? Let's have a look. So this is how the game went. Queen d8, queen h6. Knight f8, trying to prepare for the incoming attack and thus relieving the queen from any defensive duties. Knight f3. Knight is coming toward the center. Note that the rook is still dead weight. Queen e7, h4. And at this point, if you are a crafty player, you already know where this rook is going to excel and find a remarkably effective spot in this game. The h file. Bishop c6. Very clear to see that black is struggling, royally struggling, to find something productive to do. You would think that queen b4 is a good way to proceed, but unfortunately, losing these pawns irrelevant, because now the white pieces are so crafty that the attack is going to break through here with elementary power. I would play here h5. The engine really likes queen g5, rerouting the queen to f6, and then h5, h4. Now, this has very little to do with the rocks, but it's noteworthy that black is utterly helpless against the dominant white pieces. And so, black decided to stay at home. Bishop c6, trying to reroute to e8, bringing in more defenders. h5, bishop e8, takes, and tada, we have a new open file. Now, if in this position I remove the rooks from the board, the position in terms of quality would deteriorate significantly from white's point of view, because I really need this rook. It's one of the most useless pieces seemingly on the board, fulfilling the least amount of duties, but it has immense potential to become the hero of the day after g4, king g2, rook h1. What potential does this guy have? It has been sitting there for the last 7, 8, 9 moves and has been doing nothing. g4 played, beauty by the way, multi-purpose move, threatens to play g5, fixing all pawns on white, and further emphasizing the weakness of the dark colored complex. And of course, here comes king g2, rook h1. So black runs to the escape, or rather to the defense, and white goes, no thank you, I do not wish to trade queens because I have an attack coming here. Queen h8, still no thank you. Note, by the way, the beautiful back rank fest. Queen f6, g5, all predicted, and queen d6. Now, to be fair, there are multiple ways to win the game. Rook h1 perhaps would have been more thematic here to further highlight the triumph of giving up the open file in order to obtain a new one in 10 more moves. And basically the plan of knight e5, knight g4, queen f4, knight f6 check is unstoppable. I will show you this because it's quite pretty. So knight in, black has nothing to do. Even if they go here, I can go knight g4, because if knight g5, knight check wins the knight on g5. And so if they don't take but play pass, I go queen here, pass, check. The knight has to be captured, otherwise I take. Queen goes back, queen here, and tada, we are going to end up the game in a Matutski in a few more moves, courtesy of the rook. Again, if we remove the rooks from this position, white would probably be very easily winning, but no mate. Now it's all over, we are signing score sheets. So this plan would have probably cleared up house the fastest and would have been the greatest justification to this marvelous play by white by playing rook f1. Queen d6 is also very effective, mind you, because now with all the black pieces are completely jammed away on the king side, simply white is just feasting on the leftover pawns and whatnot on the other side of the board, and the game ended in a very tragic fashion, very fitting, mind you, because after rook h1, queen f7, queen a6, black played h7, blundering the very rook that was completely uselessly sitting on c8 throughout the entire game. So let's have a quick conclusion of what we learned here. What we hopefully did take away from this situation is our better understanding of the importance of an open file. Once again, yes, that's where your rooks belong, but if the best you can do with them is to trade them down, then you haven't accomplished anything associated with obtaining and controlling an open file. And equally importantly, we need to once again reiterate that an open file for its own sake has very little value. And if there is no penetration point available, then very often you end up with a pretty piece that does nothing. And here white's strategy to crack the h-file open and thus creating a new avenue for the rook to become the hero of the day was a sensational, brilliant positional touch, and it perhaps deserved a finer finish, but I really like the fact that in the end black blundered the rook because they just completely forgot about it. That's how useless it proved to be in the course of this middle game across the c-file. So yeah, that was it, guys, for today's mini lesson. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as usual, please don't forget, if you haven't done so, to chuck a like, subscribe if you can, and yeah, we'll take it from here. Thank you very much. I will see you in the next video. Bye.